We knew when we wrote the pilot and it was picked up that costumes would be very important for the show. We did not want to have it look like a Renaissance fair. We wanted it to look like an Alexander McQueen show.
The wardrobe in Once Upon a Time, I think, is pretty amazing. We're so lucky to have Eduardo Castro as our designer. He's Emmy Award nominee for the show.
The thing that's so great about him is he actually designs these costumes.
I'm one of the few designers left that does their own drawings, and they serve as an inspiration for a jumping off point.
I think that's where Eduardo's genius is, in that he sketches and that he can understand what we're saying, and he really has such a distinct and great vision for these costumes.
Say I'll email a drawing of, say, Captain Hook to Eddie and Adam.
We wanted a different kind of Captain Hook than you've ever seen before. We just wanted it more in a rock and roll vein, so we started sending him pictures of like Jimi Hendrix and Adam Ant and all these different things, and then Eduardo came up with the long leather trench coat and the vest, and he just really dialed into it.
And it's, I think, the first time that we've seen Captain Hook portrayed totally all in black.
Well, my manners, we haven't been formally introduced. Killian Jones.
We, on purpose, avoided any embroidery. It's all very simple. It's all very super sleek. Rumpelstiltskin was one of the first costumes we made because it was one of the first castings that we made, which was played by Robert Carlyle.
Always nice to make an impression. Where are my manners? We haven't been properly introduced. Rumpelstiltskin.
Eduardo de Castro and his team do an absolutely fantastic job, you know, and they do look sumptuous. They look like, to me, what I would expect to see in a feature, you know, and a big feature at that.
Bobby is such a great actor, and what's great is Bobby has such great movements when he is Rumpelstiltskin. That wardrobe that Eduardo picks for him allows him to move and do those hand gestures and the way he kind of moves about.
How do I bring my son back to slay the dragon?
Bring him back? Oh, no, that's out of the question. He's dead. Magic can do much, but know that.
And our producer, creator, Eddie Kitsis, had one sentence to say to me, and he said, "Make him a rock star." And with that in mind, we found some incredible skins of leather, some faux, some real. We draped it across an arm, and I said, "Oh my God, he's a living crocodile."
I was wrong. Not a rat at all. More like a crocodile.
And the rest of it, the way it's all put together, it does help. When I put that on, it tightens me up for a start. And the collar thing that sticks out at the top, these little wings, it sort of gives me a kind of otherworldly look, and I absolutely love it.
Something's missing.
The interesting thing about Prince Charming's wardrobe is we had no idea where we were going. For the first pilot, my assistant brought in this panel of Swarovski beading, and we just placed it across the mannequin, and I said, "That's it, that's it." And we paired it with black leather pants, black boots, a sword belt, and it's really quite simple when you see it, but it's rather striking, and Josh actually was perfect in working with it.
And I think it takes someone of great taste to be able to go through all the hundreds of years of different artists' interpretations of fairy tale costumes and what these characters look like, and be able to make it new, make it cool, and make it cinematic. And I think he does that across the board. And yeah, they're fantastic.
No more deals!
There was one costume that Eddie and Adam and all the producers in the network just loved, and that was his brown leather doublet. It just says everything that we want to say about Prince Charming. It just seems to work.
And to you, Snow White.
Snow White's wedding dress was the very first dress that we designed for this series.
I now pronounce you husband and wife.
We found this yardage in Los Angeles, and I unrolled the feathers, and I said, "What do you think about this for the wedding dress?" And everybody said, it's perfect, just use it."
Every gown is essentially couture, and so much thought goes into each and every detail.
For Snow White, we've always developed each of her costumes with ivory in mind and textures in mind that are very simple and organic. We try very, very hard to keep a romanticism in there.
It's the Queen! Run!
She's not a queen anymore.
I think the Evil Queen really is one of the most fun characters to work on, and certainly one of the most special.
We have many different stages of her. There's the stages where she's the queen and before she's full evil, and then we have the stages when she is full evil, and then we have right before the curse, and it's keeping the timelines correct, but also kind of tracking the character emotionally with the wardrobe. And if we can do that right, then every time you're watching the show, you can, on almost a subconscious level, know where you are just by how the character is dressed.
From the very first time I saw Lana, we just understood where we were going, and the very first time I had my network meeting, I just threw out the idea of leather pants, and they all jumped and said, yes, yes, let's do leather pants. It's so important to really have the actor in tune with what you're doing.
He and I sit down and talk about these costumes from very early on. Where were we?
The Queen's costumes have allowed me to really, really utilize my imagination, and it's one of the most fun characters to work on.
Every episode, every wardrobe fitting, I end up saying, this is now my favorite costume. This is my favorite costume. I think they're all fantastic.
Eduardo's just amazing. Everything is just perfectly made. Like, there's not one stitch that's out of place. I don't know how they do it. And they make these in like 3 days.
Every episode I say this is my favorite costume.
Eduardo is a genius. He finds a way to express all of our characters very definitively through costumes.
We are allowed to proceed with magic, and hopefully it turns out that way on the screen.